There we go. There he goes.
You run the loop through the eye of the hook and loop it over the hook. So
hit the black. Where'd you get that one on?
On the right.
Ah, yep, there it is. On a 32nd?
16th.
16th, oh wow. Decent one, or?
Well, it didn't seem like it, but all of a sudden it doesn't take some sense.
Oh, pretty good size. Or do you even want me to net him?
Right. Here, you want to play for a while?
Yeah. Don't be a dick, Mark.
Stop hating. Stop hating.
I'll catch one.
Hey, Josh, come
Yeah,
on.
I'll catch one.
Oh, come on. Yeah, just let it flick on the thread. I'm just angry.
There he goes. I didn't realize it telescopes both ways.
Yeah.
It's cool. Hey, popped?
Fair enough.
Skilled release.
Fair enough.
There we go, got him on the slack line. Nice size. Hit the black. What the hell is that? Is that trout? Yeah, it's trout. Just a little one. Just a little guy. There we go. Good looking fish.
Holy masquerade!
okay guys, I want to take a break from the video to kind of show you what's going on. What you haven't seen yet, or what I'm going to put up on the screen right now, is about this time I was at the pond and I got into a real strong bite on the drop shot. I was hooking into some really strong fish, but I started losing them. I would get the hook up, real subtle drop shot presentation, and I'd fight them for a bit, and they were toads, really strong fish. But the hook kept popping out. And if you watch the videos and from fishing there, I do know they have a large tilapia population in that lake. And what tilapia are, they're a cichlid family of fish. They're kind of like shaped like a panfish, but they get very big. Like in Florida, I think they can get up to 6-7 pounds. Isn't crazy, and they're very strong, and they're a blast to catch, and they're also good to eat. They make good tacos. But one thing about tilapia is their lips are solid bone, and I imagine that's because they eat little clams or crustaceans that are in the dirt. But it's bone. So if you have a regular drop shot like we use to fish for trout, who have very soft lips, you can't get a good hook set on those tilapia unless you get that hook inside their mouth, the soft part of their mouth or palate. So you got to do what's called tie a dropper loop. Now I also had an underwater camera out there, and you can see here in the footage, you can see some tilapia going by, and also a ton of large gizzard shad. And if you watch some of the videos in the past, that's why I tell you, that's why the fishing can be difficult at the mud hole, is because there's lots of fish in there, but they have a lot of food to choose from. There's tons of minnows and bait fish in there. Now, they aren't eating these large gizzard shad, but they're eating the smaller ones. Those gizzard shad you see going by, they just eat plankton and stuff, but they're big. They're really big. And lots of times in the morning when you see a lot of boiling on the water and a lot of fish jumping, lots of times it's just gizzard shad. It's not even the trout or the tilapia, because there's a bunch in there. But that's something to keep in mind, and that's why I do so much drop shotting and mini jigging at the mud hole, is because you'll get those trout that have been in the water a while and have switched over to feeding on the gizzard shad. Now, so all we need to do, if we want to catch both trout and tilapia, or have a shot at both, is tie what's called a dropper loop. And I'll show you that right now. All right, guys, I'm going to show you how to tie one of these dropper loops. Now, this isn't an actual dropper loop. If you look up dropper loop, the knot, it's designed for much bigger gear. Like, this is a 1/0 hook, and this is more what it's designed for. And what they do is you tie the loop first, make the loop in the line, and then you run the loop through the eye of the hook and loop it over the hook so you can interchange your hooks. But we're using these tiny number 8 and number 10 mosquito hooks, and I don't care how small your line is, you're not going to be able to loop it and push it through that hole. It's going to be very difficult. So what we're going to have to do is tie the knot with the hook on the line. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use this 1/0 hook and this heavy braid that's bright orange so you can see it better. And the way I like to start is this tag end is going down to the weight. So I like to put that through the front part of the hook, which is where the point is. So I'm going to put this through the hook, and this is going to go down to the weight. Okay, once I got that through, I'm going to pinch both lines together to make a loop right there. So now all we got to do is tie an overhand knot. So we make another little loop here and run the hook right through it. Okay, now before I pull it tight, this is where we're going to set the length of our loop. So I like to keep it about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. So I don't like to make it very long. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's going to tangle with the main line. So I pull it right there, and there's probably about 1.5 inches right there. So there's the knot right where my fingers are. So that's a good length. If it's a little longer, it's not bad. You can still use it. It's just kind of personal preference thing. So now we're going to do another overhand knot on top of that knot to help lock it down. So make another loop, push the hook through, and we're going to try to get this knot right on top of the first knot. Which, when you're using the fluorocarbon, it's actually easier than with this braid. This braid slips a lot, so it's much harder to get the knot right on top of each other with this braid. But the fluorocarbon's much easier. Now see, I missed right there. They're right next to each other. So we're going to do a third, and that doesn't hurt anything. Make another loop, pull the hook through, and see if we can get them all locked on top of each other. And if they're not, the rig is still okay. Try not to stress about it too much. So right there, we got a good solid knot, and a tilapia or a trout is not going to be able to pull that apart. So there we go. Got a nice dropper loop, the hook's right there, and it's free to bounce around and have all kinds of action. All right, so next, we want to put our drop shot weight on. Now, you don't have to have a drop shot weight if you don't have one. You can use any kind of weight. You can even use the little crimp-on weights. Just as long as you have some weight at the bottom, you're in business. So just put this on real quick. And I like to do it about 6 to 8 inches from the hook is usually about good. These are designed so you can adjust them. I typically don't. I typically raise and lower my rod tip to adjust my depth of my baits. But if you want to adjust the depth of the weight, you're more than welcome to. That's the way these things are designed. So I'll just do one overhand knot, lock that thing down, clip off my tag end. All right, now we got to tie what's called a leader loop, and then we can attach this to a swivel or a dual lock snap. Now, if you're tying this to your main line, you're done. There's your rig. But I'll show you how to do the leader loop because this is how I do it. So what you do is you make a loop by crossing your right hand towards your left. So you make one loop, just like that. Then you do a loop behind it, a medium-sized loop. So we got 2 loops. And then you do one small loop in between both loops. So pull that one down. Make sure the small loop's in between. Hold on to all 3. Now you pull the medium loop through the big loop. I can get a hold of it. Just like this. And if you got that tag in coming off at a 90-degree angle, you did it right. And that's really solid. And then I just clip off the tag in. And I always leave a little bit on this one because fluorocarbon can slip at times. So I'll leave about that much on in case it does slip a little bit. And that's solid. So there we go. Got our leader loop, dropper loop, and our weight. And we're ready to go after them tilapia and them trout. All right, now I hope that was informative. So now I'm gonna head back out to the lake and let's see if I fare a little bit better.
There we go. Caught him right up close. I just did a sidearm cast. Oh, it's tilapia.
Is it?
It's a small tilapia. Yeah. Vengeance. I told him I'd come back for them.
Vengeance is mine,
Yeah.
saith the sea smacker.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that rudder.
Yeah.
I mean, he stripped you of your top one.
Well, I only had, it's only a single.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's your
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Chunky bro.
Go. Good looking trout.
All right, guys, there you have it. A good couple of days at the mud hole. It was a grind, but eventually, once we figured out what was going on and changed our tactics, we fared a little bit better on the bait and weight, especially for the trout. Real basic Carolina rigs, like I showed in the description, and I'm just tossing it out about 5 to 8 feet, and just beyond what I always say is the curtain, where you can't see into the water anymore, just a foot or two past that. And I call that the curtain, and that's where your trout are going to be cruising back and forth typically. So I'll just throw it out there with a 1 foot to at the most 2 foot leader, and just let it sit for a while. Check the bait every once in a while, and lots of times I'll hook up some fish. And then in the meantime, I throw out my drop shot and my jigs and try to get the rest. When you're on the drop shot, typically you don't need a dropper loop for the trout. It can help in a finicky bite. Because obviously with that loop you're going to give your baits a lot more action, but it is a lot more time to time up and all that kind of thing, and typically you don't need them. This time of year in December, November, December, beginning of trout season, the weather is always going up and down as far as the heat and the cold, so the bite's going to be up and down. Typically in the spring we get some solid cold weather for a while, or right before spring, like in January. And that really settles the fish in, and they really get a lot more aggressive and feel a lot more comfortable So you don't need dropper loops at all. And especially the tilapia, they don't do well in the cold. The colder it gets, they're going to shut down, and if it gets below 50 degrees in the water, they'll die. But I think the mud hole, typically, it doesn't get that cold, so a lot of them will survive, but they typically don't bite very much in the next coming months. But so it's not something you have to have. It's just another, like I say, tool in the toolbox. If you want to do it, by all means, tie them up. Tilapia are a blast to catch. They fight much harder than the trout do. A couple times when I hooked them up, man, I thought I had a toad trout on before I realized they're tilapia. They pull, and they're a lot of fun and good eating too. It's good whitefish meat. So give it a try. If you catch some, definitely try them out. One thing I definitely want to mention, I get a lot of questions from you guys about how I get my info, about where to go and where the fish are and all those things. Mac's Fish Report. Andrew Mac is a great guy. He does a fish report, and he's out on Facebook and Instagram. And he gives out all the information, where all the lakes are stocking: Orange County, Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County. If he gets the info, he will put it out. And even does live streams. If new things come across his desk, he'll put out all the info. So make sure you look him up, get on there and follow him, because he puts out really good intel. And that's one of the places I get my information. Other places you can go is most all these lakes have sites on Facebook and Instagram. And if you follow the lakes, there's no reason why you can't get the information, because sometimes they put it up when they have stocked or when they're about to stock. So the information's out there. You just got to look for it. Believe me, I'm not very computer literate, but it's not that hard to find. You can find it. Just got to do a little investigating. And with that, if you want any of the products I use on this channel, like the Golden State Fishing Custom Base, the RHA spoons, the WaterLand sunglasses, or the katana rods, there's a QR code right here. It'll take you to a link tree. Click on those links. It'll have information with discount codes and take you right to the site. So if you make any purchases, you can get up to 15% off. And it's a really good deal, and they're outstanding products, or I wouldn't use them. So always remember to like and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram at Seaspanker Outdoors. If you need any links to anything you saw on the channel, any questions, please leave a comment. If you have any better knots than that improvised dropper loop I tied, please let me know, or leave them in the comments, so other guys can know about it and get that knot going. Because like I say, I'm not a great knot tying guy. It's not my thing. But lake's coming up, going back to the mud hole, of course. We got the mid coming up, and God, more Hesperia. I got to get out to Hemet. Hopefully it doesn't snow too much. I want to get up to Big Bear and the San Bernardino Mountains, check all that out. So hope to see you guys out there, and tie lines.